Are you an agent struggling to understand real estate economics? Would you benefit from learning how top agents structure their businesses? Then you've come to the right place. And welcome to another edition of the Nerdy Agent Podcast, where we teach you the basic economic and business principles you need to thrive in today's real estate market. I'm your host, Luke Pettersen, with my brothers and fellow nerds, Josh and AJ. How are we feeling today? Because I apologize to the listeners in advance, but I am still a little bit depressed.
I'm wearing a Twins hat. I've already moved on.
Vikings lost on Sunday.
I got my new Twins hat on. I don't know what football is anymore.
And now we look like a bunch of dopes who are going to post a podcast talking about how the Vikings are going to win on the day after they lost.
I do remember warning you guys that we may be doing this, but Haley, you can just edit out that first part of the last episode.
I was telling AJ before you got here, Josh, how would you feel 4 years ago if I told you we were going to sign Kirk Cousins and then 4 years later have one playoff win after getting to the NFC Championship game with Case Keenum and losing by 30?
Yeah, 4 years ago I would have been very surprised, considering we were already
surprised or disappointed?
Disheartened, maybe.
Not surprised.
I mean, after that Case Keenum run, I would have been on top of the world. But yeah, it's been a little bit of a disappointing run. They're close. The defense is just bad.
I mean, me and Luke this morning, we were just looking at our projected statistics for our minor leaguers for our fantasy baseball team. So we've also moved on. New season.
Fantasy baseball.
It's time for baseball.
The funny thing is, I'm still playing for the fantasy football championship this week in the divisional round.
Still going on.
Bills and Bengals are playing again, and that's the matchup that matters, apparently.
Oh, wow.
So I'm playing for the ship this weekend, so I'm still in on fantasy football. Getting into the Would You Rather of the week that we threw together at the last second. Would you rather have a 3-season...
We've been preparing for this for months. I don't know what you're talking about.
Would you rather have a screened-in 3-season porch or a deck with no screened-in porch option? AJ, just want to make sure we clarify. Both options have cedar decking. There is no composites on the...
And we live in Minnesota, correct?
And we live in Minnesota. That is correct.
Wow. Does it matter? Like at my house, I prefer my deck over a screened-in porch just because the view's a lot nicer from the whole house if I don't block it off with a big screened-in porch. Mm-hmm. Plus, I don't get any bugs in the summer,
but at the cabin, you maybe would prefer the screened-in porch.
If it was off to the side, but I don't want to miss those sunsets from my big room.
It's true.
It'd be a bit of a setback problem, too, with the way the lake is.
Might be. We'd be in the lake.
It would be a 2 by 13 porch.
From a buggy perspective.
The bugginess.
It'd be a little bugginess.
There you go.
Some bugs.
Yeah, I have an affinity for porches.
Big screen porch guy.
I'm a big screen porch guy. I actually want to build a sunroom off the back of my house. That's me more of a 4-season porch room. But
this is a 3-season versus a 4-season
yes,
porch.
Yes, no, I agree. It's really a 2-season porch.
I was going to say, can we clarify that we don't have 4 seasons, really? That
screen porch would be
winter and summer.
Yes. 2.5 seasons, maybe?
Well, we have winter and construction.
I think that'd be a deck.
We have late spring, summer, and early fall would be our 2 seasons that we get out of our porch. I pick porch. I like being inside and outside all at the same time.
I think that means you need a gazebo. I was actually listening to John Mulaney on Smartless last night with Will Arnett and Jason
podcast?
Pittman. Yeah.
They probably have the same number of viewers as we do.
Yeah, that's probably
Smartless. Follow boss.
All right, let's get into the topic of the week. This week we're going to stay away from economics. We're going to talk about business practices, essentially. And
we might still talk about spreadsheets, though. Just
at some point, we might. 3 actionable steps that agents can take right now in 2023 to weather what looks like will be a slight storm and be the agent that gets through versus the agent that floats off into oblivion. The things that you can actionably take steps towards. Shout out to Tom Ferry on this because I kept this number at 3, which I know there are probably so many different things you can be doing in real estate, but he always says that 3 things that you for sure can do are going to give you a far greater chance of getting anything done than 10 different things that you're probably not going to do any of them.
And watch till the end for a bonus 4th tip.
Oh, bonus 4th tip. Yeah. But you only can get to choose 3 because you have a better chance of getting it all done. All right, let's get into it. The first thing that we're going to talk about, and I personally believe that if you're not in a situation where you're getting leads dished to you or your sphere isn't super big right now, the best way to find new clients is going to be doing as many open houses as possible. Mm-hmm. So we want to talk about best ways to get open houses and then also best ways to convert people when you're there. So tell us about how we can get open houses.
I mean, the easiest way is to get a listing. That would be one great way to do it. So yeah, on your own listings in 2023, if you're not doing open houses, you're doing it wrong. The second way would be team listings. We pass those around to our team, our greater group at EXP. We're all on email lists to, better, I guess, collaborate and communicate what kind of open house opportunities there are. And then there's like the hustling agents who actually go out and like reach out directly. Mm-hmm. So we've actually added agents to our team just because they reached out and said, hey, I'm trying to do some open houses. My team, my group, whatever it is, don't have very many opportunities for me. Could I hold your house open? Mm-hmm. My sellers love it. They get an opportunity to get some clients potentially and get in front of some people. So that's, the 3 ways that you could hustle down and get an open house.
Yeah, and I think the key point probably throughout this, or the key thought permeating most of the conversation we'll have today, is don't sit around and wait for things to happen. Go ahead and force the action, right? On our team, we have a little bit of advantage because of our lead pipeline generation, open houses. There's a lot of things that people can just raise their hand and they have something immediately. There's a lot of people out there that are on teams or just by themselves, and the action doesn't come to you quite as easily. So you're going to have to work harder to force the open house or force the issue. Open house is a really easy one though. If you have a team, people are going to probably throw them your way. Like I had a listing last week and 3 people signed up for open houses in 2 seconds. I have another one coming in this Friday. I'm guessing 3 more opens will happen on that one. So people on our team are taking advantage of this and at least listening to us, which is awesome. But even if you don't have them, like AJ said, like I'm getting Facebook messages for people wanting to host opens on my listings. I'm getting people reaching out, email, etc. Like we appreciate people that are hustling. And so I think make sure you're spending the time to try to do something. Don't say, well, the year's going to be slower, so I'll kind of sit around a little bit more. Think critically about how you can actually create action, because it's not going to happen without that.
I think that I personally would be most worried right now about the solo agent that's not on a team. However, so like they can't get the open houses just handed to them, right? However, there are going to be solo agents out there that have their best year ever in 2023 because they're making things happen. They're going to make it happen. So just because you're a solo agent doesn't mean you can't get open houses if you don't have listings. You can go out there and actually create those.
And if you're on a team and you're not taking steps to take advantage of the leads given to you or going to the open houses, you're going to have the same problems.
100%. I also want to talk about just making sure we mentioned how many you should be doing. I do think that if you are trying to do open houses, you should do at least one a weekend. 2 is preferable if you can, just because the more you do, the more opportunities you're going to get.
Nerdy side of this as a tip, calculate how much time it takes you to do an open house, and then calculate at the end of the year how many transactions you got out of it and how much commission you earned. And then you can just back into $1 per hour. And if that $1 per hour is higher than your other activities that you're doing, then you probably should think about doing more open houses.
You can even get nerdier, and you can say, how many contacts did I get that I thought were opportunities? How many of them did I convert into clients? Mm-hmm. And how many open houses did it take for me? Then I decide the next year, how many clients do I want to get from open houses? How many open houses do I need to get the opportunities to get the clients I want? Mm-hmm. You can break that into math.
And I think we talked about this in the previous podcast. So we are regurgitating a little bit, right? Because we'll probably go through some scripts to get people at open houses, which we've done on a past podcast and a business tip. Another thing that we've said in the past is, as you think about where your transactions are coming from, understanding to AJ's point, like, are you getting deals from open houses, or are you getting them from leads, or are you getting them from Sphere? Knowing where your transactions are coming from and actually tracking that will help you understand this, right? Like I've had a lot of success with open houses, specifically earlier on in my time of taking clients that I didn't know would exist, going to open house, meeting them, and then making them into clients. It's been a big piece for me. So this is a very good one for me, but other people personally might spend 40 hours at open houses and have no clients just based on how they do it. I don't know.
The only devil's advocate I would say is that if you think you're not getting clients from open houses, you could maybe do more to get better at open houses. When I started in real estate, I wasn't getting that many clients from open houses, and in the last 12 months, all of a sudden, now I'm able to get clients at open houses because whether I'm more confident or I'm asking the right questions. If don't not do open houses because you think they don't work for you. Learn how to make them work for you so you can do more 100%. Open houses. I want to talk about the script. So kind of run us through essentially, someone walks in the door. What does that conversation look like while they're there?
I mean, I think, and again, I haven't done open houses in quite some time, but I do think that having really good knowledge about the property you're standing in, as well as the area you're in, as well as the other potential opportunities in the area.
As in like listings that are close.
Yeah, exactly. So listings that, maybe are a similar price point or a similar size, similar beds and baths, all that kind of stuff. Because the worst thing you can do is not be equipped with the actual value, and I think this is a mistake a lot of new agents make, and then they just do the like, hey, how's it going? How'd you find us? And they don't
take a look around. Let me know if you need anything.
Yeah, exactly, right? Which is fine. It's just if when they get done, you don't have that like, oh, this one isn't a fit, but maybe this one is. I'm done here at 3:00. We could bop over there at 3:15 if you want. Like, if you can't do that, you're gonna have a hard time with like a call to action or a hook, I think.
I typically, when they walk in the door, I typically introduce myself, tell them your name, and then I say, how'd you find us today? So I know if they found it online. Because if they found it online, they have some more information than if they found it at the signs.
Yep.
And then I typically will find something in the house. I get there a little bit early. Find something in the house that I can point out to them where I'm teaching them something, right? So like at your listing last weekend, I held that open house. They were soft close dovetail cabinets, brand new kitchen with 42 or 48 inch uppers, right? Upper cabinets. And so every person that walked in, I went over to the drawer and I opened it up. I said, look at how nice these cabinets are. These are high-end quality finished cabinets. And so you can at least point something out and pose like, I know this house versus just, what did you think about the house?
That's awesome.
Think about price points too and areas. So you're going to know more about certain areas than you are about others. Try to hold opens in areas that you know. So if you're like, I do really well in this neighborhood or this city or this suburb area, think about what open houses are happening there. Look up the listings online for everything that's happening in that area, or set up a search to have yourself push to all the listings, and then email those agents and see if you can get opens at their listings. Those are the types of things that will help. And then price points are important too. If you tend to sell a lot in higher price points, that might open up more opportunities. And then if you tend to sell a lot at lower price points, or you tend to work well with first-time home buyers, look for those types of listings when you're targeting open houses, because you'll do better.
The type of buyers that are going to come through, think about that. Like,
yeah, because
I would go for first-time home buyers because I convert them a lot higher than other buyers.
And make it super personal, right? Yep. So like if you're in an old condo building or an old townhome community where it's a single level, have whoever walks in is going to probably be an older demographic. Have a spot where they can put their coat. Like if you're going to be in a second ring suburb at $800,000, have coloring books, because they might walk in with 3 different kids and they want to see the house by themselves and not have to deal with their kids being rambunctious.
Yep.
So like,
and have maybe some fun snacks for the kids.
Exactly.
I've been told that if you can get the kids to like you, the parents will always love you. That's a side fact, but that's true.
No, it's very, very good.
It's very true.
The other thing to that point that I made about the knowing your stuff, you're going to have more downtime if you're don't have as many clients in this upcoming year. Spend your downtime learning things. Don't play FIFA or something like that, right? Go learn about new areas, learn about new houses, learn about new stuff.
Still have time to play FIFA and know things, I think is important to note.
But don't sit around doing nothing.
Don't get into tip 3 yet. We'll get into tip 3 later.
I'm ahead of
I want to talk about the questions. So just a few other questions I want to throw in there as examples you can ask. So how'd you find us today is a really good one when they walk in. I usually say, do you live in the area? Gives you a pretty good idea. A lot of times if you ask that question, you might learn if they're renting or if they own their house just based on the question. And then if AJ remembers his favorite question to finish they're leaving the house. What's the question? They just got done touring it.
Thanks for coming in today, Luke. How does this home fit with what you're looking for?
It's the exact question I ask every single time because it's open-ended and it gets them talking a little bit. And then if they give you some more information, you might be able to get into showing them some other listings.
Your goal is to find out through question and answer whether or not they are a likely buyer of both this listing or just in general, and if they have a real estate agent within the short period of time. Do not ask them directly, do you have a real estate agent? But feel it out from the start and try to get a sense of if they seem like they're actually a fit for you. That's a big key. And then from there, figuring out ways to close is the next conversation.
I will say that you can ask decently directly without being too direct. So I'll even say to people seems like they're a first-time home buyer. Have you had anybody chat you through the buying process?
Yep.
Have you chatted with a real estate agent about homes you like? And because the biggest way that I've converted people is I will do that and they'll say, no, I haven't. It's like, that's usually the first best step for first-time home buyers. Yeah. I actually work with 75% of them, and that's what they have to do the first time almost every time.
Yep.
Is that something that sounds helpful for you? So you can hey, do you have a real estate agent when they first walk in the door? But you can be decently direct, because I think being direct is the only way you can really give yourself a chance.
The point I guess I'm trying to make is you can get to the same outcome without seeming overbearing, right? So the 100%. Old school approach is like, hey, come on in, sign in on this sheet, give me your email address and your phone number, let me know when I can call you afterwards. And people are like, I don't like this guy, right?
We don't do sign-ins.
Hey,
we should make sure we point
we do not do any sign-ins. Welcome to our open house. My name is Josh. I'm a listing agent. Have you been looking for long? What brings you in today? And then you walk around with them and you show them stuff and you get to know them and you learn about their family and you ask them questions about how it fits within what they're looking for, and you just get to know somebody. And by the end of it, they're like, I probably like this person. So that's when you start to ask the questions Luke's talking about. Like, have you talked through the process before? What timeline are you looking like for a home? Is there anything else that I can do for you to set up a search or something along those lines to show you other properties nearby?
I'd love to work with you in the future. I'd love to work with you long term on searching for a house.
I help a lot of people with houses just like this one. I could probably help you out. Could I find a time to meet for coffee?
I don't wanna get too much into open houses because we have a couple more tips we have to get through. But I also want to point out my typical goal is to get an email address or a phone number that I can drip over time. So like the majority of the people that I am converting, probably half of them in open houses, I'm not just like setting up a meeting on my phone at the open house. I'm emailing them 2, 3, 4, 5 times over a 1 month or 2 month period, and they're finally responding going, sorry, we've been so busy, we'd love to set up that meeting. So it's not like you're just going to convert them there every single time. You got to make sure you're dripping them long term as well.
Yep.
By getting them to write it down in your phone. I don't do sign-ins as well.
I don't. Yeah. Also, once again, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So if
Michael Scott,
Wayne
Gretzky.
Gretzky.
Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott.
So if someone's walking out of your open house
Josh
and you
Pettersen.
think they might be a fit, just say, hey, I really appreciate you coming today. Obviously, I help a lot of clients in this area. I hope this listing's a good fit for you. If it's not, though, are there any others that I can help you with?
Yeah.
Right? Like something like that. Even if that's just like your last minute shot, they're like, no, we're good. I'm like, okay, well, thank you for your time. If I can do anything, let me know.
Yeah, and I even get like if they say no to that, I literally will just ask them and say, have you chatted with a real estate agent yet? And they'll say, yes, we have a real estate agent. I'll go, oh, it's like totally cool. I have to ask. Like I'll laugh. They're like, yeah, we get it. We understand.
Even if they have an agent, sometimes I just say like, can you give me your agent's contact info so I can keep them in touch on this house?
Because you might be able, yeah. And if they're interested in the house, I tell them, schedule a private tour and come back.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to sell the listing.
Yep.
Getting into number 2. So this is a complete flip kind of. So you have open houses. Number 2 is providing as much value as possible as you can to your sphere of influence. With this one especially is without pushing them to buy or sell with you or being too direct with them, just providing value in general. So can we just break that down?
I mean, there's a bunch of ways you can do that, right? You can do that through social media. So just being consistent with what you're posting, real estate related. So we do that way. We do that.
And not real estate related.
And not real estate
You can be a
related.
real estate agent. You can also be a human being. People like that.
Right.
So the one thing on social media that I've also learned recently is that you want to make sure that your engagement stays up. So like when you post a real estate related video, you're going to get less engagement typically than when you post a personal video. Mm-hmm. And I always just like, I'm just going to post real estate related because I don't like posting personal videos. But if your engagement gets higher on the personal stuff, social media, Instagram is what I'm thinking of, will push your real estate related videos to get more views, if that makes sense, because they're seeing that you're getting more engagement on the other stuff and they don't know the difference between the type of content.
For sure.
So it is important to mix in some personal stuff.
I tell people, think of social media, at least I think of social media as a platform where I prefer to use it not for real estate things because I feel uncomfortable advertising myself. It's just a personal flaw, or not flaw, but thing I just don't love doing. I will post enough real estate related things so that people remember, oh yeah, he's a real estate agent. So I don't want my friends to not know what I do professionally. So there's enough of it on there that if they think of real estate agent, they put me in that category of who they're thinking of. But I also post enough personal stuff to just ensure people are engaging. And then I actually engage with them too, right? I tell people social media is a conversation with somebody. So if you were on the phone with somebody for 3 hours and you didn't say one word because all they did was say things to you, you'd get pretty bored pretty quickly. But if you're saying something back and you're asking questions and you're caring about what they're saying, people are going to be far more likely to engage with you too. So that's how social media should work. But more often than not, people just throw their own stuff out there and don't actually care about what anyone else is saying.
For sure. What are the other ways we can add value?
Okay, yeah, so we got social media. So as far as like what our team does is we have monthly email newsletters with a personal story and a real estate update.
Like the market update, essentially.
Yep, through MailChimp. That's a pump for MailChimp. It's a fantastic platform. We do biannual physical mailers, so a trifold mailer that gets delivered to their house. We do 2 to 3 client events a year. So that's not necessarily your whole sphere of influence, but past clients, and you could invite whoever the heck you want.
What are give just quick breakdown of what those events might look like?
The 2 that we do for sure are a early summer picnic where we have like a food truck, outdoor games, stuff like that. Dunk tank. And then we do pie day. So we give away pies the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, which is always a hit.
I think it's important to know what those events are because adding value to your sphere of influence isn't just teaching them about real estate or market updates. It's giving them a free pie on Thanksgiving. That's a really nice pie that they can bring to their family that everybody will enjoy.
And then we break down our sphere into 30, 60, or 90-day follow-ups. Like for instance, I have 375 in my sphere. I bet 325 are in a 36 to 90 day follow-up schedule. So I'm following up with 30 to 40 people every single week. Sometimes that's, hey, you told me you were interested in real estate. A lot of the times it's just, hey, saw you got a new dog. Like, how's that going? Or, hey, your son's in kindergarten now. How's he liking that? Or whatever it is, right? So it's something, I try to make it as personal as possible. But most of what I do is just a text follow-up. We log it in our system, and then it pings us to do it again in 30, 60, or 90 days.
The key to your sphere is to do this without any expectation that there is any sort of business tied to it, right? So your goal as an agent should be to connect with as many people that know you and know what you do, and just be kind to them because you like being kind to them and you like helping them out. So for example, one of my clients just had a baby, so I sent them a Minnesota onesie that's got a cute embroidery on it and all that stuff, right? I didn't do that because I'm like, well, maybe they'll tell their friend that they'll buy a house from me, or maybe they'll buy it. I did it because I liked them, I liked working with them, and I thought it would make them happy, right? I'm helping someone show apartments this afternoon. She's not buying a house with me, but she's a sphere person. She wanted to see apartments, so I'm helping her out, right? Eventually, this all comes back to you. If you're good to people, they'll be good back to you.
One of the coolest parts about real estate is you can do stuff like that with it being just trying to help them, and it always does come back. So like you can buy them a onesie on your business card and write it off.
Yeah.
And it is just like, I can do that now. If I was in any other industry, it's not something you could really do. It's just not, it's different.
Well, and for instance, Luke chatted with a seller yesterday, and she said, well, I'd love to follow up with you in 4 weeks. And he said, we should send her something. And he's like, what about Monka Beans? And I said, yeah.
She lives in downtown Hopkins, and our office is downtown Hopkins.
You send a handwritten card that says, hey, I'm really looking forward to seeing those gardens that you were talking about. Yeah. It was great chatting with you. In the meantime, hopefully this gift card keeps you warm in the winter. And you give her a gift card to a coffee shop.
And she had mentioned on the phone she moved in and then COVID hit, so she hasn't really been able to be in downtown. So I don't know if she's been to Monka Bean. She might be able to check it out first time.
There you go.
Right?
Care about other people more than you care about yourself. And you'll find that you get more in return than you would if you just cared about yourself.
Karma. Anything else on adding value to your sphere of influence?
Oh, that's really good.
Okay, the second to last topic, we have the hidden topic at the end that AJ's going to have.
You guys have kind of already talked about it.
Is going to be how to become an expert for everything related to real estate. So when you're down, what can you do to, when you get to the open house, know what you're looking for? When you finally get it showing with that client, actually know how to teach them about the house.
I mean, there's a million examples of this. What I have focused on throughout the years is the topics we talk about on this podcast, which are economic market conditions. So that when someone does ask me a question about what's going on, I've got a very smart answer for them. And then the other one would be understanding the product that we sell. So being able to walk through a house and understand all the things that go into it, how it was built, what impacts what, things to look out for in different aged homes and all of that. I think that's the most, I've probably talked about on the podcast before, it's the most underrated thing that people do in real estate. I'd say maybe 5% actually understand the house at a pretty high level.
You really think it's that low?
It's pretty freaking low.
At high level.
I'd say if you said, tell me about the different kinds of electrical wires, how many agents do you think in Minnesota would have any idea?
Less than 1%.
They'd have no idea what to say.
That's even lower.
Right? Mm-hmm. Tell me about the different kind of plumbing supplies, maybe 5%, hopefully 10%.
I would think that's numbers higher.
Okay, maybe. But again, that really, really matters. And then equipping yourself with knowledge of areas. I mean, that's what Josh's first few months in real estate, he was asking that, what should I do? I got some extra time. I said, just go drive around different cities, look at the houses, look up the active property, do previews.
And what did you do with that information?
I put it in a spreadsheet.
Yes, spreadsheet. We did it. We got spreadsheet involved in the podcast.
Yeah, there's a lot that you can do, and I'm not going to get into all of it, but you got to think about what would be valuable for the clients you have now, for the future clients you want. How can you be better?
Think about and write down the things you need to know so you can remember and learn them.
And then if you want to add a fourth thing, since we said we would, right? Find some mentors in real estate that are really darn good at this, right? And if you don't know what to do, talk to them and ask them what should I be doing? Because knowing smart people is how a lot of people get off the ground in this thing, and getting feedback and getting all these ideas of how you can best go about this. So if you're looking to listen to the podcast already, we are glad to be mentors for you. But if you need other people, just find some of the best people in your area and just reach out and grab coffee and see what they do to be successful.
The joke we always make with our agents is, the things I'm telling you to do right now, I did not think of. I just heard them from somebody else and then I did them.
Yep.
So now I don't know who's thought of them, but everything that I'm telling you, I basically learned from AJ, and AJ tells me he learned from somebody else. So we're just doing what other successful people have
And if you want a more expansive list, send us a DM. We've got a really good document that's called What to Do When You Have Nothing to Do. So if you want that, send us a DM with your email address. We'll send it over.
So that's kind of 4 now. Did you have something else on that?
No, I just said it looks like we got a good game plan for 2023. Time to crush it, huh?
100%. What's our hidden?
The hidden fourth bonus. So here's the deal, guys. And we talk about this on our team a lot. So being knowledgeable for your sphere is great, but keep in mind, you either need to increase the size of your sphere by 30 to 40% or be okay with selling 30 to 40% less sphere transactions in 2023, because that's about what we're going to lose this year. So open houses were a great tip because that can add back to supplement that to get you back to where you want to be. But leads, paid leads, team-generated leads, and we talked about it a little bit, are super, super important this year because they still convert at the same percentage. So if you can keep the same number of leads, you can kind of bank on that number of transactions. We've fought hard on our team to increase our lead flow, specifically with Zillow, and we know that that's going to help our team to sell more homes in 2023 than in 2022, even with the sphere share going down likely. We probably will sell less sphere transactions as a whole team potentially than we did last year, but we're planning on selling 100 more homes, and that's because we're generating more leads, and those leads are still converting at the exact same clip as they were before. So it's just a math problem, really.
So just summarize that, like real quick, because what you were saying is pending sales are down. We're seeing like 20 to 30% now, but 30 to 40% maybe market wide. So if you have 10 friends that were all considering buying a house, because of the way things have changed, 3 to 4 of those friends won't be buying a house this year. That's the big point AJ's making. So if 3 or 4 of your friends aren't going to buy a house this year, you have to find a way to supplement that with people that are hungry and are going to buy. So team leads, they're the same likelihood to buy as they were in 2022 and 2021 because they're already out looking. Open houses is the same thing. You're already out looking. So nothing has changed for those buyers versus the open house or lead buyers in 2021 or 2020. But with your friends, more of them are probably going to be sitting on the sidelines than were in the past. So you have to find a way to supplement. It's a great point, Age.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to finish this off. That's actually all we have today on the Nerdy Agent Podcast. We will see you next week. And remember, be better.